Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire Podcast. I'm Abby, and alongside my co-host Ashley, we are on a mission to make J.R.R. Tolkien's epic and sometimes intimidatingly complex literary works fun and accessible to everyone, whether you are a seasoned scholar or just curious to explore Middle-earth.
This season, we're diving into the unfinished tales. If you've already journeyed through these pages like me, virtual high five, but stick around. We'll uncover some hidden gems and geek out over the lore and legends that make up this tale.
Or if you haven't read this tale before, like me, but maybe you've read the other Tolkien classics like The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and you're just curious about these other stories, then settle in. Our cozy corner is the perfect place to explore these lesser-known tales with zero intimidation and a ton of fun.
So, fellow travelers, let's embark on this literary adventure together through Tolkien's unfinished tales. Let's go!
Let's go! Okay. It's been a day. It's been a
day already.
So we were supposed to record this morning, and Ashley was so on time, on top of things. She's like, okay, I'm setting this up, and like, Lizzie's going to school, or Lizzie's going to whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm in urgent care with my son. I wasn't planning on this.
But you know what? It gave me the perfect amount of time to do, I did 2 loads of laundry I picked up. I mean, it worked out for everyone.
I know. My husband stayed home with our other 2 and folded 4 loads of laundry. It was awesome. So I'm like,
job,
you know, but no. So okay. So my poor son, we think he has pneumonia. Sadly, the doctor's like, well, it's kind of like on the fence. Like he's kind of, with X-rays kind of show not really, but he kind of could go that way. And I'm like, oh, cool. So personally, we're just going to treat it like he has pneumonia and just because he's miserable. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So he had X-rays today. I had X-rays 2 weeks ago because I wrecked my foot/ankle. And then my husband had X-rays this month, a few weeks before that, because he tore the tendons in his wrist. So I'm saying we're done. No more X-rays for my family this year. I'm going to say year at least. Please.
We're only halfway through the year, Abby. You can't just mandate it. I know.
Yeah, so I think we've hit our deductible for insurance. No,
nicely done.
I hurt my foot. I was on a field trip with my daughter, and I stepped off of a curb into a pothole, and it sounded pretty gross. I'll tell you that.
I wish I could have been there.
So, while I was on this, that was when we got off of the bus for the field trip. So, I had to deal with my foot being so ouchy the whole rest of the field trip. But I literally hopped on one foot the whole time. I was like, I'm getting a killer workout right now. But so I text my husband that I was like, so I think I need to go to the hospital. I really hurt my foot. I fell in the street. And my husband's like, you're kidding. And I was like, and I knew it wasn't because he was mad or anything like that. It's because he was at an orthopedic doctor's office getting a cast for his arm while I was texting him that I had to go to the hospital because I think I've hurt my foot. So my husband and I have matching.
All of the good vibes with Abby right now.
I have a boot. My husband has an arm cast.
You should go to Disneyland right now.
Surgery. He might have to get surgery.
Oh God.
And so my foot is
That's a great way to start the
annoyingly.
summer.
I know. And then so today I hobbled in with my poor son who's just cannot breathe right now. Poor kid. And we went and got X-rays of his lungs because they're just nasty. And I was telling Ashley before this that they checked him for like
Nasty.
the flu, influenza, and COVID and all that stuff. And they have to do that nasal swab. And they stick that cotton swab way up his nose. And my poor son, has horrible, horrible seasonal allergies, so he's really congested. They stuck it up his nose, swirled it all around, and pulled it out. And it was like they pulled out a stopper, like a bathtub stopper with a chain, or like a cork or something, or one of those pop it like confetti cannon things where you like pull the string and then it explodes. It was like that. So they pulled out the cotton swab, and that kid sneezed so much. I was telling Ashley it was like the scene in Jurassic Park where the dinosaur sneezes on that girl, and she's like completely covered, except the girl was the nurse. Poor nurse. It was
like, I don't get paid enough for this.
And it was so funny because like she's a nurse. She's probably seen some things. She's probably had gross situations happen to her because she's going to work in an urgent care.
Right.
Like, hello. But she kind of was like, oh, okay. Like, oh, right. And I was like, I was so mortified. We had to disinfect like the chairs, the floor, the poor nurse, Fox's pants and his shoes and his arms and like all this stuff. And it was, yeah.
Was she wearing a mask at least?
No.
Of course not.
Anyway, so that was my morning.
Anyway.
So, yeah, but we made it. We're back. We did it. Hopefully my son will start feeling better. My husband will start feeling better. I'll start feeling better. You know, it's all good.
Luna and Oakley are just going to have to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. I just got handed a slushie by my daughter, so I'm fantastic.
Oh, Lizzie, where's my slushie? Lizzie. Oh my gosh, that looks amazing.
I know.
What flavor is it?
They have a new one. It's like Minute Maid hibiscus lemonade or something.
What the?
I don't quite understand it, but I'm here for it. It's not like my most favorite thing ever. I miss the Sour Patch watermelon one. But
what the? That sounds so
You haven't
good.
had that one before?
No.
They had the Sour Patch orange one at it for a while, and I was like in heaven.
Oh my gosh.
This is
I think I might need to go take my kids to 7-Eleven. Was that a 7-Eleven Slurpee?
It's an AM/PM.
Oh man. Oh geez.
Well,
I don't know if I have those.
I know. So we have an AM/PM like on her way to school, and it's literally owned by her like best friend's dad. So we go there a lot.
Oh, fun. Well, enjoy your Slurpee. Yeah. I'm just a little jealous. Yeah. Where's mine, Lizzie? Where's mine?
I will. It's like you have to come up here and get
Speaking
it.
Of kids. I know.
Speaking of kids, I'm like, how are we going to segue here? How much do you remember of last week?
Speaking of sick.
I know. I was even just thinking of the evil breath.
Yeah. So I just re-listened to our episode, and man, it's so sad. So sad.
It's so sad. Did Hurin have a chance? Are villains made or what's the line from Wicked?
Born or made or something.
Are villains made or born that way or something? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Are people born wicked, or do they have wicked thrust upon them? I remember it now.
Yes.
Sorry, I like Wicked.
So Hurin, I was trying to do the mental math in my head about like how old they were when they were talking about like when they were talking about his sister that was like so happy and everybody loved her and she was like the cutest little thing. And she had to be like a year old or less. Like I was trying to do the mental math in my head.
So she was 3 when she died,
Yes.
and Hurin was 5.
Yes. So Turon had to be like 2 or something when they were talking about like he was a quiet, kind of kept to himself, more
Yeah.
what's the word? Serious, like not
Yeah.
moody in a bad way, but like he wasn't, smiley and giggly and like rambunctious kind of kid. I mean, he's still just 2 years old. It's so funny that they're like, this is how he is. We've only known him for 2 years. But I guess this is who he is. But and then his sister, I don't remember her name.
La life.
Lalice,
La life.
was like this
Or
happy,
laughter.
giggly. I'm in my brain. She has like blonde, beautiful hair that's like either like curly, like ringlet kind of situation, and she's like
Oh, yes.
have big blue eyes, and she's just like this gorgeous little toddler, little baby.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody loved her. I think my favorite line, was, what was it? It was like, and everyone felt happiness when they were around her, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so cute. I mean,
Literally like the early version of like she lit up a room,
yeah, so
which means
cute.
she has to die.
Yeah. Oh no, that's a true crime podcast, or documentary code word for.
Oh
Sorry,
no,
you
my
said
daughter
that.
my daughter lights up a room. Oh no.
Yeah, her smile is bright. Oh god! Oh no! It's a curse. And Turin. Anyway, but Turin
So
loved his
Hurin
sister,
and Lalife got sick with the evil breath,
and Turin loved his sister so
right?
much. Everybody loved the sister, and
Mm-hmm.
then he woke up and found out that his sister did not make it, sadly. And
Yes.
the evil breath, which I'm thinking is like in my brain, like was Tolkien like around for like when they had pandemics? You know what I mean? The Spanish flu,
He
or
might have been around for the Spanish flu. Yeah, he might have been. Maybe.
or
Trying to remember the timelines here.
I don't know if smallpox or things like that were around, but it's kind of like that where like I feel like the evil breath was kind of like a pandemic-y kind of epidemic of
Okay.
a
See, I almost
disease.
thought of like the Dust Bowl, like just where the air was just polluted, and it
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm
gave
saying. That's
people
like
coughs and
I feel
yeah.
like it was like chemical warfare version of like a
Okay.
epidemic, like
Yeah.
a pandemic-y kind of like
Yeah. Okay.
it was wiping out a lot of people and making them really sick, sadly. So his sister didn't live, and his mom, who was also kind of like a quiet, more secluded with her emotions person, cut off emotions entirely and was like a robot, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
And then his dad, who loved hanging out with the elves,
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of, he was heartbroken, but also like he was just kind of not a stranger to his family, but he was gone so much that I feel like he never really
Right.
had a good bond with any of his family. And so
Yeah.
Turin
That's fair.
never was close to him enough to like confide his, just being sad and or
Mhm.
learning how to be a person, I guess. Like learning, like his dad didn't really do much in raising him. So then
Yeah.
he found our new favorite guy. Well, I don't know if he's
Mhm.
your favorite guy, but I think he's pretty
Oh,
great.
he's my favorite. Heck yeah, he's my favorite.
Is I
Sawdor.
remember his name is Hopalong. Hopalong?
Hoppafoot.
Hoppafoot.
Hobbadal. Hoppafoot.
Hoppafoot, because he only had
He's
one leg. Which I'm like,
he's
come
the
on,
dad who
man.
hopped up.
Yeah, he's a dad who hopped up. He's not a hop dad. He's the dad who hopped up. And he was kind of like their, I wouldn't want to say like servant, but he's
He
kind of like
worked
a,
for the household.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of became his surrogate father figure, person to talk to, gave him good advice. And he was a ex-soldier, right?
Yep. Yep.
But he didn't get hurt. He didn't lose his foot being a soldier. He chopped it off on accident.
Yes.
Which I guess made it completely okay for people to be mean to him, which I'm like, hey, none of that. We're not doing that. That's mean.
It is mean.
And then he gave Turin like life advice, but also like Turin was still like a little kid. And so like he would ask like little kid questions that were so sad and so innocent because he just didn't understand. And he was like, he didn't understand where Lalaith went after she died.
Yeah.
He didn't understand what that was about. And then he also didn't understand like why.
Wait, so she's not coming back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like why elves got to live forever and men didn't get to live forever and all that stuff. And so they were having like deep conversations, which is hard to have with like, yeah. So how old is he? Like,
so about 5? Now he's like 8.
8?
So he was 5 when Lilith died, and I think we're getting it might be like through the years, like around this time, around this chapter, we're going between the ages 5 to 8. He's not maybe quite 8 yet, but we're getting there.
So yeah, so then they talked about, you know, death and being a soldier, and he said, hey, being a soldier is okay, but it isn't like the best thing you can do. Like it's not like, it's okay.
Killing people's not very fun.
Like, it's okay. But
it's okay.
And that, you know, the elves are not mean, they're just, you know, a different people, and that they have different lives, and they have different, not, how would I say it, like
priorities.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, mortality isn't something that's, you know, the forefront of our brain right now, so we could care less, and I don't know. So I don't know.
There's a lot of talk of like, was it even a good idea that the elves and the men, you know, what if, maybe would we have been better off if we had never met them? And then Turin's like, well, my daddy loves the elves, and he thinks that this and this and this, and Sador's like, yeah, but also I probably would have a foot, maybe, possibly. We'll see. I don't know. And like maybe your dad would be like around more, and he would be the one answering these questions instead of me. Yeah, lots of stuff.
Yeah. So we just ended last time on like them having these deep conversations, I feel. That's where we ended, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Exactly. So while Sador and Turin were having their deep discussions, during one of Hurin's brief times back at home, Morwen and him have a talk about things to come. Because it's at this time that the armies are starting to muster to fight in what would eventually be named the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. And for this scene, I really do imagine the husband and wife from 300. Because, well, some husbands might try to shield their wives from the worry about the battle to come. Like, it'll be fine. Hurin actually preferred to talk to his wife about it. Because Hurin would, like, tell her of the battle plans. He's like, okay, first we're going to do this. And then, you know, the elves are going to do this. And, you know, I'm not so sure about this working. But, you know, we're just going to give it a try. He was even willing to tell her things that he thought would go badly. Because he knew that she was courageous and that she wouldn't go blabbing about it. He says, knowing her courage and her guarded tongue. So he really used her as like a sounding board, which is I kind of feel like how the couple in 300 did too. But for this particular battle, quote, Hurin's heart was high with hope, and he had little fear for the outcome of the battle, for it did not seem to him that any strength in Middle-earth could overthrow the might and splendor of the Eldar.
Oh.
So, yeah. So for this particular battle, he's like, I think the odds are in our favor, sweetie. Because we have the elves. And, there's nothing that can take out an elf. Because they're pretty much invincible. They're pretty much awesome. I'm a big fan. Remember his own son, Turin, was like, he's not happy unless he's with them. So I think he's a fan of these elves. But Morwen, on the other hand, is a very analytical person. I feel she's very thoughtful and wise, because she says, quote, they have seen the light in the west, or Valinor, and in the end, darkness, or like maybe the orcs, must flee from their faces. And yet, did they not leave the light, or Valinor? And are they not now shut out from it? It may be that the lords of the west, or the Valar, have put them out of their thought. And how then can even the elder children, or the elves or the Eldar, overcome one of the powers, or the Valar? So, in other words, like, elves might have a power and light in them that can overcome some darkness. Like, yeah, they can take on orcs, no problem. But Morgoth is one of the Valar, and I don't see how any elf could overcome that. Especially without the help of other Valar, which they kind of pissed off earlier. So, not sure.
The timelines are getting messed up in my brain, but didn't an elf already try to go toe to toe with Morgoth?
Oh, yeah. That just happened in the last battle.
Yeah. It toe to toe.
He managed to give him a limp, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's funny how Hurin's like, no, these elves are amazing. Nothing can stop them. And Morwen's like, didn't we just do this? Didn't one just try?
He was pretty good. He was a pretty good guy. So
he was a pretty good guy. Yeah. He had the sparkliest helmet and shield out of anyone I know, but didn't work. So while Hurin is still very optimistic about the outcome of this battle, he's like, I think we're going to win, honey. I'm pretty sure. He does decide to have the sort of talk that all soldiers have with their wives before battle. And he says, quote, when I am summoned, I shall leave in your keeping the heir of the house of Hador. The lives of men are short, and in them there are many ill chances, even in times of peace.
If I don't come back, basically. Right.
Yeah, if I don't come back, take care of the children. Make sure that they live what life they can, even though they're men, and men's lives are really short.
And we die pretty easily, yeah. Someone sneezes in your face, it's over,
And to this, Morwen says, quote, that has ever been so. But what lies under your words? She's like, I know that men's lives are short. That hasn't changed, but there's something you're not telling me. What lies under your words?
Only husband and wife that's been married for a long time could be like, I know what you're saying.
Yes.
You're not telling me everything.
Yeah. So Hurin says, quote, one who looks forward must see this, that things will not remain as they were. This will be a great throw, and one side must fall lower than it now stands. If it be the elven kings that fall, then it must go evilly with the Edain. And we dwell nearest to the enemy. But if things do go ill, I will not say to you, do not be afraid. For you fear what should be feared, and that only. And fear does not dismay you. But I say, do not wait. I shall return to you as I may, but do not wait. Go south as swiftly as you can, and I shall follow, and I shall find you, though I have to search through all Beleriand.
Oh, so he's telling her to leave?
Yeah, so he's making the plan. He's like, okay, so anyone who thinks about the future of this battle, what is the outcome of this battle going to be? Because someone's got to win. in this battle. If we win, then obviously we're going to be great. We're going to be fine. And things are going to suck for Morgoth, but we're going to be fine. But if things go poorly, then we're going to be screwed because we live the closest to Morgoth. And so I say instead of staying here, you should run for it. Just escape as fast as you can. But I also love that he has this like, I'm not going to tell you not to be afraid because, I feel like your fears are what you fear is rational. Like she doesn't have these like outlandish fears that are just made up in her mind. Like, you fear what should only be feared, and fear doesn't like debilitate her. She's not like, I don't know why. The first one I thought of was that girl from the second Indiana Jones that just screams the whole movie. She's not, that's not Morwen. Morwen is rational. She's tough. She's not asking stupid questions. She's not begging him not to go. She is very rational.
She can take care of herself.
Yeah. And funny enough, her response is, she's like, okay, so go south. Okay. Quote, Beleriand is wide and houseless for exiles. Whither should I flee? With few or with many? She's like, okay, so I need to leave and I'll leave as soon as I can. But do you think it'd be better to go to a place where there's lots of people? Like that might be a bigger target. But they could protect us. We'd have better protection. Or should I go to a small place with just a few people that would be harder to find for the enemy to find, but we'd be less protected? What do you think? Like, she's just like very analytical about this. I kind of love her for that.
Yeah.
So Hurin thinks for a minute. He's like, because unfortunately, there aren't a ton of people they can turn to. At first, he's like, maybe you should go find my mother's people, the men of Brethel or the folk of Haleth. But again, Morwen's logical brain takes over. And she's like, you know what? If we do lose this battle, then the whole race of men is going to be screwed. And what strength would any groups of men have against the force of Morgoth? She says, quote, if such an evil time should indeed come, what help would there be in men? The house of Beor has fallen. If the great house of Hador falls, in what holes shall the little folk of Haleth creep?
Oh. No.
Yeah. But Hurin defends his mother's people, and he says, quote, they are few and unlearned, but do not doubt their valor. Where else is hope? Like, they might not be mighty, but they might not be smart, but they have a heart.
Yeah. They can do it. They believe in themselves.
Really, who else is there? Like, that's really the only choice. Yeah. Well, Morwen can think of someone that Hurin maybe hasn't mentioned yet. So, like, okay, maybe let's think outside of the box here. Because she says,
who's the ringer?
Quote,
who's the
do
ringer?
not speak of Gondolin.
Oh.
Yeah, because in case you forgot, Hurin has been to Gondolin and is buddies with Turgon. But in order to leave Gondolin, he did make a pinky promise to not ever tell its location or talk about his time there. So Hurin says, quote, no, for that name has never passed my lips. Yet the word is true that you have heard. I have been there. But I tell you now, truly, as I have told no other and will not, I do not know where it stands.
So he told her that he's been there, but has he told anybody else that he's been there?
Nope.
Okay. So,
but what's interesting is that in the 8 to 9 years that they've been married, he has never told Morwen about Gondolin. And it is just now that he does, which honestly would terrify me. I'd be like he's that worried about the battle that he's willing to talk about Gondolin for the first time. Like,
so I have a question about Gondolin.
Wait a minute.
I have a question about Gondolin. So the people of Middle Earth and Beleriand or whatever, they know about a hidden people and a hidden city. Is that just common knowledge that there's this hidden city and hidden thing that people can't find? Like, people know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, like,
it's more like a rumor. It's a, like, it's talked about in hushed tones.
Oh.
Like it's like a secret that, I mean, it's spread around, but like it's a rumor that everyone's just like making stuff up in my head. Like that, I heard
Area
Gondolin is in the
51.
north. Yes. Yeah, really though. Like, I hear Gondolin has tanks, like just like, it just, I imagine it gets bigger and bigger and
Gondolin has a dragon.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about though. Like, I feel like it really could be built up like that because just no one has any confirmed knowledge about it.
Okay, because I was wondering, because like Tor knew about Gondolin.
Yeah.
And she knows about Gondolin. So I'm just like, is it just common knowledge to know that Gondolin is like a thing, but no one knows where it is, and no one has been there that they had talked to, or stuff like that. That's what I was
like
wondering. Because I was like,
Atlantis.
how do people know about Gondolin so
knows
much
where
when
it
it's
is.
supposed to be such a hidden city? Or who's spreading the rumors? Like, has there been like propaganda, like just like
I mean, that's a valid question.
infiltrating
So
their social
in my
media?
head, like the people do leave every once in a while. Like think of the messengers that came from Gondolin to Nargothrond to try and warn them about the bridge and bad times are coming. And then Ulmo does talk to Círdan, and I'm sure he's like, oh yeah, Gondolin. He doesn't maybe tell him where it is, but I'm sure Círdan knew about it.
Yeah. Huh. Just a wonder.
So it's not. Yeah. That's an excellent question. But instead of freaking out that Hurin is just now bringing up Gondolin, like, oh, he's now confirming it. Oh, shoot. That means something, like he's more worried about the battle than, he's letting on. Instead, she says, quote, but you guess, and guess near, I think. Like, come on, Hurin. You don't know at all where Gondolin is. Like, come on. Come on. Come. So he replies, quote, it may be so, but unless Turgon himself released me from my oath, I could not tell that guess, even to you, and therefore your search would be in vain. But were I to speak, to my shame, you would at best come at a shut gate. For unless Turgon comes out to war, and of that no word has been heard, and it is not hoped, no one will come in.
Oh. Well, he's a good secret keeper, I guess. But he also actually doesn't know where it is. Because wasn't he like eagle Ubered there?
Yes. Yeah.
So he probably's like, I didn't walk in. I got dropped in from I got airdropped. Like,
right.
I don't know how to get in there.
Now what we know about how like the thicket, tunnel and the dry river and all these things, like I really don't think, even if he like, I'm guessing it's around this area, I still don't think he would have been able to find it.
Yeah, true.
But even if he could somehow find it, like I'm just imagining a Morwen and like a little, Turin kid, like outside the gate. Do you really think that they would turn them away? I'm questioning that in my brain.
I mean,
like, do you think they would just kill a woman and child?
They are really sticking to like this being a hidden city, so I don't know.
Right. I know. Well, anyways, Morwen replies, quote, then if your kin are not hopeful and your friends deny you, I must take counsel for myself. And to me now comes the thought of Doriath. Last of all defenses will the girdle of Melian be broken, I think. And the house of Beor will not be despised in Doriath. Am I not now kin of the king? For Beren, son of Barahir, was grandson of Bregor, as was my father also.
Okay.
So remember, Doriath is where King Thingol and Melian lived. And Thingol was super racist against anyone but elves. But that changed when Beren more than proved himself to his future father-in-law by the quest for the Silmaril and everything. So Thingol is a bit more nice towards the race of men. He's still super racist against the only other race he has left to hate, which is the dwarves, which will later lead to his downfall. But anyways, Hurin's not quite sure about Thingol. And he says, shocking, I know. He says, quote, "My heart does not lean to Thingol. No help will come from him to King Fingon. And I know not what shadow falls on my heart when Doriath is named." Like, my best friend Fingon isn't friends with Thingol, so I'm not friends with him either. But
Okay, the real jerk.
yeah. My friend Fingon said that
You can't come to my party.
that Thingol, like, doesn't...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can't even get past the girdle, so, I mean, he won't, like, let anyone in. He's, like, an invite only, and it's, like, super rude.
Yeah.
But interesting that a shadow falls on Hurin at the name of Doriath, though. I wonder why. But Morwen replies, quote, "At the name of Brethel, my heart also is darkened." Which makes more sense given the later events that Brethel would make her heart harden or darken. Not sure why Doriath would make Hurin darken other than just Thingol being a jerk. But nothing really involving his kids happen in Doriath, to my knowledge. Like bad, at least. I mean, I know Turin's going to end up there, but Brethel is where all of the stuff with the sister and the dragon and all that happens. So that makes more sense. Yeah. So, but I just imagine both of them like looking off into the distance, looking like very worried and be like deep in thought. And then out of nowhere, quote, "Then suddenly Hurin laughed and he said, 'Here we sit, debating things beyond our reach and shadows that come out of dreams. Things will not go so ill.'" Like, what a funny, scary vision we both had there, but it won't be that bad.
What?
Oh, Hurin. You're hilarious, Hurin.
What? Oh man, that's hilarious. It reminds me of
funny.
What is that part in that movie where they're like, it's super random, but like the clip of it is put a lot on TikTok, but it's that scene in the second King Kong movie, and it's like this like group of soldiers goes to the island where King Kong is, and they find this old soldier that's been living there forever, and he like finally gets to see other like Americans, and he's like, "This is a fine looking group of boys. We're gonna die. We're gonna die here. We shouldn't have come here." But he's like laughing like the whole time. He's like, "You should not have come here. This is not gonna be great." Like, that's what it reminds me of. He's like, "Oh, we're just talking about stuff. We're gonna die. We're gonna die."
Yeah.
Like, this is not gonna go
We're all
great.
gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not gonna go great.
Yeah.
I think too, like, when I have never been in battle, I will never want to be in battle. I never want to do something like that. But I feel like there's a point where like you just can't like plan everything. And you just kind of have to be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, it's just going to go how it's going to go. Like, just kind of laugh at, like he does, just laugh it off and be like, "Ha ha ha, what can we do? Accept our best, I guess. Here we go."
Right. Yeah.
But
what's funny is that he's like, "Oh, here we are trying to like think about things like that are beyond our control." But then he's like, "But just in case, quote, if they do, then to your courage and counsel all is committed. Do then what your heart bids you, but do it swiftly." So he's like, "Ha ha ha." Seriously though, like,
get out of here.
It is all on you.
Yeah, you gotta get out of here.
Don't screw it up, and do it fast. Yeah.
Make sure my son carries on.
But what's interesting is, yeah. But if they like randomly do end up winning the war, then the Elven Kings promised to give back all the lands that Morgoth took from the House of Beor. And, if that happens, then Hurin will have quite an inheritance. Wouldn't that be cool?
Wouldn't it though? Wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it though? Like, he's like, I don't want to say that Hurin is naive. It's just such an interesting situation. Like, how on earth does anyone think they could defeat Morgoth, let alone him and his armies and his orcs and his Balrogs? Oh, and don't forget the dragons. But on the other hand, look what Baron and Luthien just pulled off. And they were only two, people. So
Star-crossed lovers. Yeah. He kind of has the, I'm getting two different kind of vibes in my head of him. The first is in the Hobbit movies, the cousin dwarf guy who comes and he rides the pig, the big battle pig, where he's laughing the whole time. And he's like, "Oh, you can never come and visit me," while he's chopping someone in half or whatever.
Yes.
Where he's not naive to the battle, but he's like, well, this is just my life. He's just kind of
deliriously optimistic,
disassociating, I guess.
Maybe.
And then my other thought was that he just like I said before, he can't anticipate everything, but he's trying not to bring down the vibes.
But what's funny is I think about this a lot. If the brothers married different people, so let's say Hurin married Rian and Hur married Morwen, just in this crazy universe I have. Hurin's optimism, I feel like he is is more, I guess, in touch with Rian, because Rian was so sensitive and couldn't handle things like that. And so he's like, we're gonna win, it's gonna be fine, we're gonna be great, and think if we win, our son will get back all that land that your family lost, and it'll just be great. Wouldn't that be so great? He almost has this he didn't need to be that optimistic for Morwen, I guess, is my point.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
She didn't reciprocate very well. She'd be like,
yeah.
She'd be like, okay, sure. I can see her saying that.
Yeah. But right. If we lost, then what are we gonna do?
Yeah. I feel like I'm very much like her. In how me and my husband talk, where I'm very without getting too personal, just if something happens between me and my husband, something stressful, maybe it be with his work, mm-hmm. or a health problem or something like that, he's like, well, he's very optimistic. He's optimistic in a way that's not not delirious, but denial. It's not that. It's just he's like, okay, well, we've done this and this before, so we can get through this and blah blah blah, or we can do this and we have this option, but we've done this before, it's okay, we're gonna get through it and blah blah blah. And me, I'm like, well, I wrote a spreadsheet of all of the things that can go wrong, so which option should we choose? I can put it on random and see which it is, and then we can plan out that scenario. That's totally me. So,
Fear, write a list of everything that can go wrong on a first day of school.
Yeah, yep. That's me.
That is Abby.
And so I have to go through all the mental scenarios in my head. I'm like, okay, well, if this is, gonna happen, then I need to do this and this and this for it to be okay. Or if this is if this could be the outcome, I need to do this, this and this for everything to be okay. So
right. Yeah.
I feel her. I'm her. I feel like we're very close kin, me and Morwen is her name?
Morwen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's just like
I feel you, Morwen.
the one conversation that, what?
I said, I feel you, Morwen. I feel you.
Oh,
You're just trying to take care of your family.
yep. And try and turn off those emotions because feelings hurt. That's all. That's all I know.
Feelings are too hard.
Yeah. So I do love that we got more Morwen and Húrin conversation with the unfinished tales. We got nothing of this in the Silmarillion, so that's awesome.
Yay. But why did they have to
I'm
make
actually
it so sad? Who knows?
Who knows? But I'm actually going to leave you here this week. Sorry, it's a bit shorter. It had like a natural stopping point. We have like one more little snippet of a story next week, and then Hurin is going off to battle. So,
oh no, because we know how that goes. Oh no,
it's gonna go great.
It's gonna be
It's gonna go great.
It's gonna be great.
Fine. So, thank you for joining us on this fun trip through Middle Earth. To stay connected with us, please follow us at the Sisters of the Shire podcast on Instagram. We share posts and cool art and memes. We try to make them in the vibe of our current episodes, but sometimes we just, this one's cool. Look at this one.
I like this one. Wait, did you see the one that I posted of the... I think it was on our stories. I was like, can you find the Tolkien characters, or are they names of antidepressants?
That's a good one.
Which, you know what? I had a struggle. It was a struggle to find which ones were real and which ones were antidepressants.
Well, is there an answer key, Abby? I mean...
I didn't. Oh no, I didn't see. I knew two.
People will never know.
Official Tolkien characters. So, which honestly, most of those Tolkien characters could have used that depression medication. They could have used it.
That is very true. Big shout out to our awesome patrons, Dan, our trusty dwarf friend of the fire, and Krishane and Tom, our awesome elf companions. Your support means a lot. What?
I'm sorry. You said elf friends of the fire, and I think that's really cool. But, or a dwarf friend of the fire.
Did I say that?
I'm like, yes, you did. A dwarf friend of the fire sounds awesome. It sounds
I will have to look back at the footage. I'll have to do a replay. No, sorry, I'm a little tired.
It sounds like a secret society of like dwarf blacksmiths or something.
Don't talk about it, Abby.
A dwarf friend of the fire.
Well, maybe that will be our next tier. Who knows? Just kidding. If you want to join our Patreon, check out patreon.com/Sisters of the Shire podcast. For $3 a month, you can become an elf friend of the Shire. For $7 a month, you can join our dwarf friends of the Shire. And for $9 a month, you can be a man-woman friend of the Shire. And then for a secret exclusive friend of the fire, message us later.
I think before we messed up and we said Sisters of the Pyre, which I'm like, that's also awesome. It sounds like we're like Viking witches.
Yes.
Like, amazing. So we could be Sisters of the Pyre and you guys can be friends of the fire.
I like it. But yes, please join our Patreon if you can. Your support allows us to keep the tales coming. If you can't, we get it. Please just give us a rating. It doesn't cost anything to give us a rating or a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us grow and helps us reach more fans across Middle Earth. We did get a new review. And share with your friends. We did get a new review on Spotify. Thank you.
Another one?
That I know. You guys.
Nice.
Another one. And we got a new country.
Okay. Africa.
No,
I'm waiting for more African countries. I want more.
I think we have all of them.
South America.
Nope.
Europe.
Nope.
Asia?
Asia. Lots of little countries in Asia.
Uh-huh. Is it Taiwan?
We've had Taiwan.
Dang.
It has to do with a famous war for America that was very controversial.
Vietnam?
Vietnam.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. I like their flag. It's just got like this really cool star on it.
Oh.
Well, welcome, Vietnamese listener. We hope you are happy to be here. You must have just gone through a listening pinch or something, because usually the newbies start out at the bottom, but you started at like 52, just like out of the gate. So
yeah. Go.
Also, Serbia overtook Pakistan and Japan. Ukraine overtook, it's the new word for Turkey, Turkey. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Please don't hate this. Singapore to overtook Iceland, India, Switzerland, Philippines, and France. Get it? Singapore.
Oh.
Yeah. The Netherlands, which somehow is different than just Netherlands. I'm not sure how you guys did that, but I mean, country pride. They were 26th. Now they are 23rd.
Are they cheating and they have two countries?
They're cheating a little bit. Yeah. Oh, and they have what was the one that he said, the Dutch East Indies that don't exist anymore, apparently.
Nice.
And then Italy overtook Argentina. Oh. So have fun with your world dominations.
Do you think the Serbia one is our aunt? I always wonder.
I have wondered that. Me too.
We have an aunt that lives
Hi, Heidi, if it's you.
that lives in Serbia. She just...
Well, I've wondered if the Colombian one's your family.
I know, right? If you are our aunt that lives in Serbia and you're listening, hello, aunt that lives in Serbia.
Hello.
Anyway, thank you for teaching me today.
You are most welcome, Abigail. Until next week, I've been Ashley.
And I've been Abby, and this has been the Sisters of the Shire podcast. And we are so happy that you joined us today, and we hope that you can join us next time. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for teaching me a day.
Yay!